So, good morning children. Already we completed up to pancreas. Now remain adrenal gland, gonads, local hormones and mechanism of hormonal action. Let us complete that today and from tomorrow we will start reproduction. So coming to adrenal gland are ecto-mesodermal in origin. Why do we call them like that? Because adrenal gland has two regions. One is adrenal cortex. So this is the adrenal cortex which is mesodermal in origin. And the inner region is called as adrenal medulla, which is ectodermal in origin. Now, what is the location of adrenal gland? A pair of adrenal glands are present. See children, pituitary, pineal, thyroid, all these are unpaired glands. Thymus also unpaired, but when it comes to parathyroid, two pairs of parathyroid glands are present. Pancreas also unpaired, but when it comes to adrenal gland, one pair of adrenal glands are present on the kidneys like caps. If these are the kidneys, adrenal glands are present on the top of the kidneys like caps, like this. So these are the adrenal glands, hence these are referred as suprarenal glands. Now, adrenal glands, as I said, it has two parts, adrenal cortex and adrenal medulla. Now, adrenal cortex show three types of regions, three parts, three zones called as zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata and zona reticularis. In these three zones of adrenal cortex, and another is what, nothing but medulla, adrenal medulla. In these three zones of adrenal cortex, if you take the zona glomerularis occupies only approximately 7%, 50 to 60% majority is zona fasciculata, and this is 15% children, and this is 7%, and the remaining is the medulla. So that means more amount we have zona fasciculata. In adrenal gland, much place is occupied by zona fasciculata. So the hormones secreted by zona fasciculata, that is glucocorticoid, cortisol, will be more. Whereas zona glomerulosa, only 15% occupying, it is secreting a mineralocorticoid. What is the name of the mineralocorticoid? Aldosterone. Zona reticularis secrete sex corticoids, also called as gonadocorticoids, like estrogen and androgens. Estrogens, androgens. Whereas adrenal medulla secretes the hormones like adrenaline, also called as epinephrine, and noradrenaline, also called as norepinephrine. So these are the hormones of adrenal gland. First I told you adrenal glands, one pair. Adrenal glands ectomesodermal, because the adrenal cortex is mesodermal in origin and adrenal medulla is ectodermal in origin. And adrenal gland has two regions. The outer region is cortex and inner region is referred as adrenal medulla. The location is over the kidneys and hence we call them as suprarenal glands. Now adrenal cortex show three zones: zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata, zona reticularis, and then this is the adrenal medulla after that. Now what are the hormones of zona glomerulosa? Mineralocorticoid. What is the name of the mineralocorticoid? Aldosterone. Like that, zona fasciculata secretes glucocorticoid. A number of glucocorticoids are there, but the main glucocorticoid is cortisol. Likewise, zona reticularis secretes sex corticoids. Like sex corticoids, you can also call as gonadocorticoids. Here the examiner will confuse you between gonadotrophins and gonadocorticoids. Gonadotrophins, FSH and LH, secreted by anterior lobe of pituitary gland. These are gonadocorticoids secreted by adrenal cortex, and they are called as estrogen and androgen. Coming to adrenal medulla, it has two hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline. Now what else we have to learn? The most important point for BITS is the hormones of adrenal cortex, that is aldosterone, cortisol and gonadocorticoids, are steroid hormones. Steroid hormones, whereas the hormones of adrenal medulla, that is adrenaline and noradrenaline, are amine hormones, that is made up of amino acid. Amine hormone made up of which amino acid? Tyrosine. Like thyroxine, adrenaline and noradrenaline also made up of amino acid called as tyrosine, and together these are sometimes referred as catecholamines. Catecholamines, these are amines. What type of amines? Catecholamines. Which are the catecholamines? Adrenaline and noradrenaline are catecholamines. Most important bit. Adrenaline and noradrenaline are not steroid children. They are amine hormones. What is the amino acid with which they are made up of? Tyrosine. But when you take the adrenal cortex hormones, cortisol, aldosterone and the sex corticoids like estrogen and androgens, all these are steroid hormones made up of fats, that is cholesterol. Now let us proceed to the functions of these hormones. The first hormone, mineralocorticoid, aldosterone, let us take. What is the target organ for aldosterone? Aldosterone receptors are present on DCT, distal convoluted tubule of the nephron. In kidneys, units are called as nephrons, and the DCT is the distal convoluted tubule. The receptors for aldosterone are present on DCT and also to some extent in CD. So what is the target tissue for aldosterone? Aldosterone acts on DCT and helps in the reabsorption of sodium. It helps in reabsorption of sodium and water. Sodium plus water, and also elimination of potassium and phosphates. This most important point, hence only we call it as a mineralocorticoid. That's all about aldosterone. Aldosterone is a steroid hormone secreted by zona glomerulosa. It's a steroid hormone and it is acting on DCT, and it helps in reabsorption of sodium as well as water. And also it helps in the elimination of potassium and phosphates. That is about aldosterone. Now the second hormone what we are going to learn about is glucocorticoid cortisol. These glucocorticoids like cortisol are secreted by zona fasciculata. Most important hormone. The adrenal cortex hormones are under the control of hypothalamus. You know very well. Hypothalamus should secrete what? Corticotrophin releasing hormone, which reach adenohypophysis and makes it to release ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, which acts on only adrenal cortex, not on medulla, and help in the secretion of glucocorticoid. So there is a link, children. If corticotrophin releasing hormone fails here, it's not secreted, then ACTH also will not be secreted, then this also will be affected. And not only glucocorticoid, aldosterone and gonadocorticoids also under the control of this hypothalamus and pituitary gland. The total adrenal cortex is under the control of hypothalamus and pituitary gland, but not the adrenal medulla. But why NCERT is mentioning only about glucocorticoid? Because in adrenal cortex the major hormone is glucocorticoid. Why is it a major hormone? Because maximum area is occupied by zona fasciculata. So even though he is mentioning only about glucocorticoid, we have to keep in mind that hypothalamus and pituitary gland are also controlling the secretions of mineralocorticoids and sex corticoids also. But an option question is given. The teacher is not having complete knowledge, but he frames a question and give to you. We can't debate with him or we can't argue with him continuously. At the moment, we have to think about our mark. If a question is asked, ACTH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, stimulates the secretion of aldosterone, estrogen, cortisol, all the above. Actual answer is all the above, because all the three it is secreting. Or else if it is asked, estrogen, testosterone, glucocorticoid, mineralocorticoid, you have to give first preference to glucocorticoid because NCERT is mentioning about glucocorticoid. Even though mineralocorticoid also is the right answer, we can't fight, we can't argue, and we can't lose our mark. So we have to give priority in that case. We have to think logically and we have to go for the NCERT option. Do you understand, children? So ACTH stimulates the secretion of glucocorticoid. Now what is glucocorticoid? Cortisol is a glucocorticoid. It is a steroid hormone. What is the functions of cortisol? Lot of functions are there for cortisol. It's the most important hormone in our body. It stimulates the processes like gluconeogenesis and glycogenolysis. Gluconeogenesis, and glycogenolysis. So it is stimulating these processes, meaning gluconeogenesis means what? Formation of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources is called as gluconeogenesis. So as gluconeogenesis process is stimulated, more and more glucose is being formed in our body. Like the glycogenolysis, breaking glycogen, lysis meaning splitting or breaking glycogen into glucose. So in both the processes, the product is glucose, so blood glucose level will increase. So we can understand now indirectly the cortisol is enhancing, that is increasing blood glucose level. Yesterday we studied about insulin, which decreases the blood glucose level. So if I say cortisol is having anti-insulin effect, I am 100% right. Cortisol is acting antagonistic to insulin with respect to glucose. Insulin is decreasing the blood glucose level, whereas cortisol is enhancing the blood glucose level. So it is showing anti-insulin effect. Cortisol also enhances the NCERT points, children. Carefully listen. Cortisol also increases the processes like proteolysis and lipolysis, breaking down proteins to amino acids and lipids to fatty acids. So that means cortisol is increasing the blood glucose level, blood amino acid level and blood fatty acids level. And it is decreasing the cellular uptake of amino acids. That means it's not allowing the cells to take amino acids from the blood. That means the amino acids are remaining in the blood. So automatically blood amino acid level will be high. In such case, in urine, more amino acids will be coming out because the cells are not taking amino acids. It is inhibiting the cellular uptake of amino acids. That is the second NCERT point. In the first point, he is saying cortisol stimulates the processes like gluconeogenesis, glycogenolysis, proteolysis, lipolysis. So, it is having anti-insulin effect, increasing the blood glucose level, amino acid level and fatty acid level. Second point is telling that cortisol inhibits the cellular uptake of amino acids. That means it's not allowing the cells to accept the amino acid, to absorb the amino acid from the blood. So the amino acids are remaining in the blood plasma. That is the second effect. The third effect of cortisol is it is affecting the cardiovascular system and kidney system. Cardiovascular system, because automatically blood glucose level and blood fatty acids level increasing means cardiovascular problems will arise. So 100% it affects the cardiovascular system. How is it affecting the kidney system? It is also having the same role like aldosterone. Like aldosterone, it is also having a role in absorption of sodium and elimination of potassium, children. But priority, aldosterone. Mineralocorticoid means you can't fight because cortisol is also having that role. Why not cortisol? No, children. For exams, we have to remember the main one. We will lose marks in such case. Mineralocorticoid means you have to opt for aldosterone only. Absorption of sodium and elimination of potassium means aldosterone only should be the option. But in your mind, you keep in your mind cortisol also affecting on kidneys, doing aldosterone like function little bit. So I told you cortisol, gluconeogenesis, glycogenolysis, proteolysis and lipolysis, these are stimulated by cortisol. It inhibits the cellular uptake of amino acids. It affects the cardiovascular system and kidney system. And fourth point is cortisol reduces the inflammation and pain. That means it is reducing our immune activity. Whenever we get any infection or injury, the WBCs move there. So to heal that injury, so we get what? Inflammation, swelling there and pain, which is a good sign. Swelling, inflammation we are getting means the process, our body has started to doing its work to heal that injury. We are getting pain means the injury is getting healed. That is an immune response. But cortisol is inhibiting the immune response, meaning it is having a role in reducing the inflammation and pain. So it suppresses the immune activity. Because it is suppressing the immune activity, cortisol is anti-allergic. How beautifully NCERT given, see children. Allergy is a hyperimmune activity. When immune system overaction, does a overaction. Immune system is doing its work over. Excess work it is doing, then we get allergy. So if we take cortisol, cortisol inhibits immune system action. That means it suppresses immune system, thereby allergy will be reduced. So anti-allergic it is. And cortisol is used to suppress the immune activity and also thereby prevent organ rejection. So during organ transplantation, the donor's organ if we are taking, the recipient's body may reject it thinking it is a foreign organ. The immune system of the recipient will not accept the foreign organ. Somebody's organ coming into our body means if we fight it, we want to remove it. Our immune system will not allow it. So that's why whenever organ transplantation surgery is done, doctors suppress immune system. They use cyclosporins, they use cortisol, which has a role to suppress the immune system. So immune system is suppressed so that organ rejection will be prevented. How long immune system will be suppressed, madam? Until the organ is accepted by our body. That differs from person to person. So cortisol is preventing organ rejection. And then cortisol helps in erythropoiesis, production of RBCs. So it enhances the production of RBCs, at the same time inhibits WBC. WBC is something related to immune system. Cortisol is having a inhibiting role in immune system. So it reduces the WBC production, but at the same time enhances the RBC production. So you can say cortisol is an erythropoietic hormone. We yesterday studied about thyroxine, which is also having a role in erythropoiesis. The examiner will ask you, what are the hormones which have in erythropoiesis? Thyroxine, cortisol, both A and B, none of the above, both A and B. Both thyroxine and cortisol is having a role in erythropoiesis, that is production of RBCs. And the last but not least function of cortisol is, it is a stress combat hormone. It helps us to face stress. In our NCERT reproduction lesson, parturition, a pregnant lady who is giving birth to the child at the delivery time, her blood levels, her cortisol levels in the blood will be high. Ma'am, what is the link between delivery and cortisol? Cortisol is not having any role in contraction of the uterus. Then why at the time of delivery the lady's blood is showing more cortisol? Because at the time of childbirth or delivery, the lady is in lot of stress. Amma, what is going to happen? How much pain I have to bear? Such a stress and tension is there in her mind. So to combat that stress, cortisol levels in her blood will increase. So this is a beautiful example to remember that cortisol is a stress hormone. It helps us to cope up with the stress. So these are the functions of cortisol, children. It enhances or stimulates the processes like gluconeogenesis, glycogenolysis, proteolysis and lipolysis. It inhibits the cellular uptake of amino acids. It affects the kidney and cardiovascular system. It suppresses the immune activity. Thereby it suppresses inflammation, it reduces pain, it is anti-allergic, it prevents the organ rejection. It helps in erythropoiesis, but at the same time decreases WBCs. Cortisol is a stress combat hormone. So these are all the functions of cortisol, that is the glucocorticoid. A lot of functions are there. So most important area for BITS children, you have to get a command over it. Coming to the sex corticoids. Adrenal cortex is having zona reticularis, which secrete the sex corticoids or gonadocorticoids like estrogens and androgens. So ma'am, both males and females will have estrogens and androgens? Yes. Because both males and females are having adrenal gland. If a female, in females, estrogens will be more, but androgens will be somewhat suppressed. Some females, abnormality, androgen levels will increase. Testosterone will increase. In such females, mustache, beard will arise. And her tone also will change to low pitch voice. So that is called as adrenal virilism. Adrenal virilism, I think you might have seen the females with more mustache and beard. Ma'am, mustache and beard, these are under the control of testosterone secreted by testes. But females do not have testes and testosterone. Then how do they get, some of the females, how do they show beard and mustache? Because their adrenal gland can secrete testosterone, androgen. Abnormality, that is. In normal females, androgens will be suppressed. They will not be secreted, or either secreted in very negligible amounts. But in some females, the abnormality is androgens will be secreted more by mistake. So such females, testosterone activity will be more. So they get beard, they get mustache, and the condition is referred as adrenal virilism. What about males? In males, testosterone will be secreted more in normal conditions and estrogens will be suppressed. Even the males can produce estrogen, female hormones, because they are having adrenal gland children. Even though they don't have ovaries, they have adrenal gland. And the adrenal gland, like ovaries, can produce female hormone, estrogen. But due to their genes, the production of estrogen is suppressed in males, in normal males. But due to some reasons, by mistake, in such males, in some males, estrogen levels may become high. Such males will suffer with the enlargement of mammary glands, and the condition is referred as gynecomastia. What is it called as? Gynecomastia. That is the abnormal condition. So that is about the estrogen and androgens, which is secreted by zona reticularis. So these are all steroid hormones. What about the adrenal medulla? Adrenal medulla secretes the hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline, which are not steroid hormones, children. If a statement is given, all the adrenal hormones are steroid, it is a wrong statement. Only the adrenal cortex hormones are steroids. Adrenal medulla hormones are amine hormones made up of amino acid, tyrosine, and they are also referred as catecholamines. And epinephrine and norepinephrine are synergetic hormones. They are showing the same action. They are not showing opposite action. So generally, children and people will think adrenaline and noradrenaline are doing opposite functions. No, children. They are not antagonistic. They are synergetic, doing the same function. What is the function of adrenaline and noradrenaline? These hormones will be secreted whenever we are in stress, whenever we are in anxiety, whenever we are in tension, whenever we are in fear. These hormones will be secreted. They act on SA node, sinoatrial node of the heart, and enhances the heartbeat. They help in vasoconstriction, constricts the blood vessels and increase our blood pressure. They constrict the pyroerector muscles of the hair. You know the hair, whenever we are tension, the hair on our body will stand straight. Because the hair muscles are pyroerector muscles, smooth muscles. The smooth muscles will contract whenever we are in stress and the hair will stand. This is called as a goose flesh. And also adrenaline stimulates not only the smooth muscles like pyroerector muscles and the iris muscles also, because of which we dilate our pupil. Whenever we are fear, we say move, we dilate our pupil. Not only the smooth muscles, adrenaline is acting on skeletal muscle also, and it is making our body ready to fight or fly, to run away or to fight. A tiger is there in front of us. Person is having two options. One is to fly away from there, run away from there. Involves the activity of skeletal muscle. Or no chance to run away. He has to fight. To fight also activity of skeletal muscle. So skeletal muscles, adrenaline also enhances the activity of skeletal muscle, which require a lot of energy. So adrenaline is having anti-insulin effect like cortisol. Like cortisol, adrenaline also enhances the blood glucose levels. And whenever we get the insulin shock, insulin means what? It reduces the blood glucose. Sometimes the blood glucose will be reduced to such an extent below normal levels, and the brain will not get the glucose and person goes to unconscious. And person goes to unconscious means immediately we will keep one chocolate or a spoonful of sugar in his mouth as a first aid. But that's not the treatment. And meantime we can take him to the doctor and he will be going to the coma, means doctor will give adrenaline injection. Why the doctors will give adrenaline injection? Because within fraction of second, adrenaline can increase the blood glucose levels. Why not cortisol? Cortisol also can increase the blood glucose level, no ma'am. Glucagon also can increase the blood glucose level, and growth hormone also can increase the blood glucose level. Why doctors are selecting adrenaline? Adrenaline is an emergency hormone. All these hormones can increase the blood glucose level. Growth hormone, glucagon, cortisol, adrenaline. But doctors selecting adrenaline because immediately, within no time, within fraction of seconds, blood glucose levels is enhanced by adrenaline. So adrenaline and noradrenaline are called as a fight or flight hormone or emergency hormones. Understood now? So that is about the adrenal gland. What are the disorders of adrenal gland? Already we talked about adrenal virilism and gynecomastia. So now when adrenal cortex hormones like cortisol or aldosterone are secreted in a less amount, a hyposecretion, less secretions, then a person gets Addison's disease. Addison's disease. And when hypersecretion, when cortisol is secreted in more amount, the person suffers with Cushing's syndrome. And when aldosterone is secreted in high amount, the person suffers with Crohn's disease, which is also called as aldosteronism. These are the disorders of adrenal gland. Now let us proceed to the gonads. Gonads. The male gonad is called as a testis. Origin is mesodermal. A pair of testes are present in the males in outside the abdomen, that is extra abdomen. And testis structure, if you see, it has many lobules. And each lobule is having seminiferous tubule. Like in kidneys, nephrons are the units. In brain, neurons are the units. In liver, hepatic lobules are the units. In testis, seminiferous tubules are the units. Each testicular lobule may show 1 to 3 seminiferous tubules. These are seminiferous tubules are the units of testis, which are lined by germinal epithelium. All these three. So I needed draw. It's a waste of time. You can understand. I am saying like that, but drawing. And the spaces between this seminiferous tubule, outside the seminiferous tubule, this is called as stroma or interstitial space. The stroma or interstitial space have what? Blood vessels. Some immunologically competent cells according to your NCERT children, and some important cells called as a Leydig cells. Leydig cells. As the Leydig cells are present in interstitial spaces, we can also refer them as interstitial cells. Now what happens to these Leydig cells? Or these are the Leydig cells or interstitial cells. The sequence again, they may ask you from hypothalamus. Hypothalamus secretes gonadotrophin, GnRH, releasing hormone. GHRH means it is growth hormone releasing hormone, children. GnRH means gonadotrophin releasing hormone, which reaches the adenohypophysis. And adenohypophysis secretes what? Gonadotrophins like FSH and LH. Now this LH is acting on LH, not FSH, but LH is acting on these cells called as a Leydig cells, and the Leydig cells secrete what? Testosterone. Testosterone, which is a male hormone, androgen it is. So see the sequence, children. Anywhere it is affected, hypothalamus cannot secrete gonadotrophin releasing hormone. Then adenohypophysis cannot secrete LH. If LH is not there, Leydig cells will not be stimulated and testosterone will not be secreted. So this is the sequence, children. Leydig cells are secreting testosterone stimulated by which hormone? LH. LH belongs to adenohypophysis. LH is secreted, stimulated by gonadotrophin releasing hormone of hypothalamus. So the supreme commander, master control gland is hypothalamus. Now what are the functions of testosterone? Testosterone also is a steroid hormone. Testosterone helps in the development of male reproductive system. The male reproductive system has accessory ducts, accessory glands like prostate gland, seminal vesicles, Cowper's glands. All these structures are properly developed only if testosterone is secreted. Second function is testosterone helps in development of secondary sexual characters in males. The external characters are referred as secondary sexual characters. In males, mustache, beard, low pitch voice, etc. are the secondary sexual characters. So testosterone is not there, those males will not get mustache, beard, and their voice will be like a female. So under the influence of testosterone only, the secondary sexual characters are developed in the males. And in the males, development of bones and muscles will be high as compared to that of the females. In teenage, the males' muscles will be more, they become more masculine and more bone growth will be there. That is because of testosterone. And testosterone helps in spermatogenesis in the males. Because of the influence of testosterone only, they can produce the male gametes called as the sperms. And testosterone is a erythropoietic hormone. Very important, see children. Like our thyroxine, cortisol, testosterone also helps in the production of RBCs. So it is also having a role in erythropoiesis. Now testosterone helps in fetal stage. Some negligible amount of testosterone is helping to descend the fetal testis into the scrotum. That is also the role of testosterone. So these are all the functions of testosterone. Testosterone acts on central nervous system and helps in the libido nature of the male. What is the libido nature of the male? The male sexual behavior is called as the libido nature of the male. More aggressiveness, more anger, all these are because of the hormone called as the testosterone. Because testosterone is influencing which nervous system? Central nervous system. So thereby making them more aggressive, more violent, and their sexual behavior is referred as a libido nature. That is all because of the testosterone. So these are all bits are very, very important for your exams. I cannot skip any point. I have to give all the points because your exam marks are very, very important for me. You have to learn about each and every bit point. Analytically think about each point. Any doubt you can ask me. You have to work out a lot of bits related to that area. Then you face any doubt you can ask me on the WhatsApp or on the phone. That is about the testosterone. So in some males testosterone deficiency will be there. So they are called as newts, and such a condition is called as newtism. ENUCHISM. Newtism. They don't have mustache, they don't have beard. Their voice will be high pitch voice like females. Such a condition is called as a newtism. They are sterile, they cannot produce sperms. This is all about testosterone. Now let us proceed to the female gonads, ovaries. A pair of ovaries are present near the kidneys, that is in the abdominal cavity of the females. Ovaries are producing ova and also they secrete hormones. So basic structure of ovary is the ovary have ovarian follicles of different sizes. Already in pituitary gland I told you FSH acts on ovaries, ovarian follicles and help in the development of this ovarian follicle. As the ovarian follicle is growing in size, the stroma condenses to form theca layers, that is theca externa and theca interna. And theca interna will secrete estrogen, a female hormone. So generally we say ovaries secrete estrogen. Which part of ovary? Theca interna. You should know, ma'am, what is this theca interna? As the ovaries are growing, under the ovarian follicles are growing under the influence of FSH, the stroma condenses to form two layers, that is theca interna, theca externa, and theca interna secretes estrogen, and each follicle is having a ovum. Now once the follicle is fully grown, LH acts on it and ruptures the follicle and ova is sent out. This is called as ovulation. So LH helps in ovulation, and this empty follicle will convert into a yellow color structure called as a corpus luteum, which secretes a hormone called as a progesterone. So both estrogen and progesterone are secreted by the ovaries. Estrogen is secreted by the theca interna of the ovary, whereas progesterone is secreted by the corpus luteum of the ovary. Understood? That's why I have drawn the structure of the ovary, to make you understand what is theca interna and corpus luteum. Theca interna secretes estrogen. Theca interna is a layer which is forming outside the follicle. If the ovarian follicle will not grow, theca interna will never be formed and no estrogen. So FSH is not there, ovarian follicle will not grow and no estrogen also. So indirectly, because of FSH only, the ovarian follicle growing, theca interna forming, estrogen is formed. So that is, estrogen is stimulated by FSH. Because of LH only, the follicle has ruptured, ovulation occurred, and the empty follicle becomes corpus luteum which secrete progesterone. So we can link progesterone to LH. Yes or no? 100%. And coming to the functions of estrogen and progesterone. Now you all know that ovaries are the female gonads, mesodermal in origin. One pair are present. Ovaries not only produce gametes, they also secrete hormones. What are the hormones secreted by ovaries? Estrogen and progesterone. First of all, let us talk about estrogen. Estrogen is a steroid hormone. Estrogen is mainly secreted by ovaries. Now you know which part of the ovary, theca interna of the ovary. And also estrogen is secreted by adrenal cortex. We have studied previously. The adrenal cortex also secreting some amount of estrogen. And in a pregnant lady, a temporary tissue called as the placenta also will be formed that also will secrete estrogen. So children, a bit is asked, estrogen in a pregnant lady is secreted by placenta, ovaries, adrenal gland, all the above. Option should be all the above. Estrogen in the non-pregnant lady is secreted by placenta, ovaries, adrenal gland, only 2 and 3. Only 2 and 3. We should not go for all the above because in non-pregnant lady, placenta will not be there. Like that questions will be asked. Now major amount of estrogen is produced by ovaries only. Mainly ovaries, that is theca interna. Now estrogen helps in the formation of female reproductive organs like uterus, fallopian tube. All these are formed because of estrogen. And estrogen helps in female secondary sexual characters. Females also have some external characters like a high pitch voice. Our voice is very high. High pitch voice, etc. are the female secondary sexual characters which are under the influence of estrogen. Estrogen helps in the resynthesis of ruptured endometrium. Endometrial wall, every menstrual cycle time, every month menstruation occurs. During the menstrual cycle, the endometrium will be lost. It ruptures and comes out. And again, every month new endometrium should be formed. To form this new endometrium, which hormone is helping? Estrogen. Estrogen helps in proliferation of the uterine wall and helps in the formation of new endometrium. So these are all the functions of estrogen, children. And estrogen during pregnancy time helps in the mammary glands, acts on mammary glands and helps in the synthesis of milk also. Ma'am, prolactin, no? Yes, mainly prolactin, but estrogen also supplements. It also helps in secretion of milk. Now what about the second hormone, progesterone? Progesterone also is a female hormone, steroid hormone, secreted by the ovaries. Which part of ovaries? Corpus luteum of the ovaries. And also by negligible amount by adrenal cortex. And also in a pregnant lady, placenta also has a role in the production of progesterone. Now coming to the progesterone functions, progesterone is a pregnancy hormone. The levels of progesterone will be high in our blood during pregnancy. So why? Progesterone helps in the enlargement of the uterus. During pregnancy time, along with the fetus, uterus should enlarge. Progesterone helps in that. Implantation occurs in endometrium. During pregnancy, the embryo is getting fixed in the endometrium. It is buried in the endometrium, that is in the wall of the uterus. So progesterone is having a role to maintain endometrium. If menstruation occurs and endometrium is lost, embryo also will come out along with the menstrual bleed. But is the embryo coming out? No, because endometrium throughout the pregnancy, endometrium is maintained. Throughout the pregnancy, the lady will not get menstruation. Why? Because of progesterone. Progesterone is a hormone that is maintaining endometrium, which is required for pregnancy. If endometrium is lost because the fetus or the embryo is embedded, it is buried or it is settling in the endometrium, along with the endometrium, the embryo also will be lost. Understood? So progesterone helps in the enlargement of the uterus. Progesterone maintains endometrium, thereby maintains pregnancy. Progesterone prevents contraction of uterus during pregnancy. At the time of pregnancy, if oxytocin by mistake act on uterus, uterus will contract, means abortion occurs. So as long as progesterone is there, it will not allow the action of oxytocin. It will not allow the oxytocin to act on uterus and will not allow the oxytocin to contract the uterus. See how beautifully it is designed. If progesterone is not there, the oxytocin may act on our uterus and immature birth may occur. Because of progesterone only, contraction is not allowed. Are you understanding, children? These are all the functions of progesterone. Hence only progesterone is having a role to maintain the pregnancy. So progesterone is called as a pregnancy hormone. Progesterone is also inhibiting FSH and LH. As long as progesterone is there in our blood, FSH and LH will not be secreted by the pituitary gland. Once the FSH is not secreted, the ovarian follicle will not develop. Ovarian follicle will not develop and will not rupture, means ovulation will not occur. Ova is not ready, means fertilization will not occur and no pregnancy. So during pregnancy time, another pregnancy will not occur. No. The lady became pregnant and in the next month another pregnancy, next month another pregnancy, means 8 to 9 babies will be in the womb. No chance, because throughout the pregnancy, 9 months, one more pregnancy will not occur. Why? Because progesterone is inhibiting FSH and LH. As long as progesterone is there in the blood, the gonadotrophins FSH and LH will not be released. And once they are not released, ovulation will be inhibited. And once ova is not ready, fertilization will not occur. So this is all about progesterone, children. All are very important for bits. You study very well hormones lesson. Any doubt you can ask me. So we completed the gonads. Now let us proceed to the local hormones. What are the local hormones, madam? So, apart from endocrine glands, some local tissues also will release hormones. And what are those local hormones? Let us study. Already we studied them. Already we know that the JG cells of kidneys produce erythropoietin, which helps in erythropoiesis, production of RBCs. Kidneys have JG cells, that is JGA, juxtaglomerular cells, which secrete renin. Along with renin, they also secrete erythropoietin, which act on bone marrow and helps in the production of RBC. So see children, whenever our body is experiencing hypoxia condition, less oxygen, the first organ which is getting stimulated is kidney. Whenever we are getting hypoxia, less oxygen, the first organ that is knowing our body is having less oxygen is kidney. Kidney is stimulated first, and JG cells will release erythropoietin. The target organ for erythropoietin is bone marrow, and bone marrow starts production of RBCs. That is about erythropoietin. Likewise, in the heart lesson we studied ANF, right atrium of the heart. The right atrium of the heart secretes a hormone called as atrial natriuretic factor, which is a vasodilator. Whenever blood pressure increases, ANF, atrial natriuretic factor secreted by the right atrium of the heart will be released, and it dilates the blood vessels, thereby reducing the blood pressure. That is about ANF. And another hormone is GI hormones, gastrointestinal tract. Throughout our gut also, in digestion lesson also we studied, so many hormones are being released. Like gastrin released in the stomach, which helps in the secretion of gastric juice and helps in the motility of the stomach. Like in duodenum, enterogastrin is released, which is also called as gastric inhibitory peptide, which inhibits the secretion of gastric juice and motility of the stomach. Secretin is another hormone secreted by the GI tract, duodenum. It is the first hormone discovered, and secretin acts on pancreas and makes the pancreas to release non-enzymatic juice. That is, it is making the pancreas to release only water and bicarbonates to neutralize the acidic chyme, but not the enzymes. This is the point examiner is stressing more. Secretin is acting on pancreas, no doubt in that, but secretin is not making the pancreas to secrete its enzyme. It is making the pancreas to secrete only water and bicarbonates to neutralize the acidic chyme. That is about secretin. And other functions, secretin also inhibits the motility of the stomach. Other functions are there in your book, you can go through, but main functions I am discussing here. Cholecystokinin, CCK and PZ, cholecystokinin, PZ, cholecystokinin, pancreozymin is acting on both gallbladder and pancreas, helping in contraction of the gallbladder and secretion of bile juice, and also making the pancreas to release its enzymes. Secretin is making the pancreas to release only water and bicarbonates, but pancreozymin, CCK-PZ, that is cholecystokinin pancreozymin, is making the pancreas to release its enzymatic juice. Enterocrinin, which is acting on intestinal cells and helping in the secretion of intestinal juice. Durocrinin acting on Brunner's glands and making the Brunner's glands to secrete mucus. Villicrinin acting on villi and helping in the movement of the villi. So these are all the different GI hormones secreted in the gastrointestinal tract. Most important for bits, in a tabular form I have given in ANCC material, making it very easy to you. You can go through that. And placenta is also a temporary endocrine gland. In a pregnant lady, temporarily a new tissue called as a placenta is formed. The main function of the placenta is to feed the child, to supply the child with the nutrient and oxygen, and remove the waste and nitrogenous waste and carbon dioxide from the fetus. Apart from that, placenta also secreting some hormones and acting like an endocrine gland, temporary endocrine gland. As I told you before, placenta secretes estrogen, placenta secretes progesterone, placenta also secretes some new hormones like HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin, and human placental lactogen. HCG, human chorionic gonadotropin. If it is present in the urine, then we can confirm that lady has become pregnant. Preg test they will do. They will do preg test. Stoppage of menstruation. Menstrual cycle is not occurring in that lady. That is the indication of pregnancy. Later people will understand, oh, this lady did not get menstruation. Maybe she is pregnant. But they cannot say she is pregnant confirmatively, because stoppage of menstruation is an indication for pregnancy, but it is not a confirmation for pregnancy, children. Because menstruation can stop due to other reasons also, like due to stress, due to other health issues also. So it is only indicating maybe she is pregnant, but it is not confirming. So for confirmation test, the elders will take the lady to the doctor, where the doctor will do urine test. And in that urine, if HCG is present, human chorionic gonadotropin is present, they confirm yes, the lady is pregnant. That is a confirmatory test for the pregnancy. Human chorionic gonadotropin, just like LH, it is doing the action like luteinizing hormone and maintaining corpus luteum, and thereby having a role in maintaining pregnancy. And coming to human placental lactogen also called as somatomammographic hormone, which is also increasing the blood glucose level and helping in, because the fetus inside the womb means mother need double glucose. So mother need double food. So human placental lactogen is acting on mammary glands and helping in the synthesis of milk, and also it is increasing blood glucose level, doing anti-insulin effect to feed the child. That is about the local hormones. Hormonal action is there, which also I complete now. Why, sir? 5 more minutes, it can't continue. Huh? If I complete 10 more minutes, 5 to 7 minutes I need, for which a mechanism also I need to complete. Can you continue it?